This is an MS Views and News interview with Victoria Reese. She's an MS patient and founder of We Are Ill, a nonprofit aiming to redefine what sick looks like for Black women living with MS. Today, we're going to discuss the chronic illness community and advocacy during these COVID times. And we're going to get into all that right now. Victoria Reese in the building, y'all. Okay, We Are Ill founder right here, right now. What's going on? Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Hey, good to be seen. So look, now your brain has come together with like, look, I have to figure out a way to make sure that we are seen in this space. I'm going to make a nonprofit. I'm going to get Lauren Hutton work to make sure that this sucker works how it's supposed to and grows and swells for it to be the presence in the space like it possibly can be. Like, that's wonderful. That's really cool. And so how has the nonprofit been adjusting during these COVID times, you know?
Yeah, so so we started off as just an awareness campaign. This is before Lauren joined the team, and that was in 2017. So
Okay.
we kind of been around since 2017, but we didn't actually become a nonprofit until January 2020. And then obviously COVID was March 2020.
Oh,
So as far as us truly navigating and operating in this space in an official capacity, we've been in a virtual pandemic space. So that's all we know. And so that's been interesting.
yeah.
I'm really grateful for Lauren joining. She was a part of the support group that we had established. And she just raised her hand to, help me bring it to life. And she was our COO, and she's amazing at operations. And she really helped ground me. I'm a visionary. I'm an entrepreneur by heart, but I'm a true visionary. And because I have so many visions, sometimes it's hard to.
You got to get down to brass tacks, lady. Okay, how many people? Is it 25 people? 17 people? Like, yeah, no, that's what she does.
So she really came in and helped. And honestly, the pandemic, it being a pandemic, it helped us have the time and space to really focus and ground down on a vision of what we wanted and to launch this thing. So in this pandemic world, it's been great. It's been difficult because we haven't been able to meet our community members, but it hasn't stopped the show. People are still active and still need that help and want that fellowship and community. And we're excited to be able to host our first in-person event this November.
Right. So essentially, you had the notion for this organization, which we'll get to in a second. But as soon as it starts to pop off, you can't be in the same space with people anymore and have it be an actual normal thing. So
Right.
how did you even make that transition? Like, yo, I want to do this advocacy work, but there's also this novel flu that is killing hundreds of thousands of people. So how do you sort of mix that and make that happen?
Yeah, I mean, well, luckily we had already been established in that virtual space, right? Since 2017, we weren't a nonprofit. We were a virtual online support group only. And we were an awareness campaign only on social media. So it was already this virtual contactless thing. So when the pandemic came and we actually formalized this to be a nonprofit and could really do the real work, it was almost like no hiccups because we were already communicating and building a community virtually. So I won't say it wasn't a challenge or difficult. It just was a space that we were already in. So we just kept it going, but stronger, more official, more strategic, so that was what we did in 2020 in the pandemic. We were more strategic with our approach.
So, okay, so now we have sort of in like an awareness thing that we start with. And now we're like, all right, COVID aside, we still are going to give the support to people. We still are going to do our advocacy thing. So what are some ways that you're like, all right, no, we're getting this group together, we're making this sort of thing happen? Is it like awareness campaigns on online or Twitter, or is it like holding Zoom meetings with people? Like, how do you get people together to advocate for the sclerosis in these novel flu times?
Yeah, so I'm not gonna lie and say we had this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 approach that we knew what order to do things. But I will say all of the above, what you mentioned, we
Mm,
absolutely had to iron out areas of focus and initiatives and areas of need. We did that based off areas of need. We know that some of the issues and barriers that this community faces is, health equity, being a part of the narrative, whether that's through research and or physically or visibly in marketing materials and in pamphlets and stuff. We know that we weren't really prevalent in those materials. We know that that was something that needed to be done.
mm,
Um, Finding ways to tell our stories so that people know that we exist.
mm.
So whether that was member spotlights or resharing, reposting content from our community members, so that their story or their message could be more publicly known. And yes, programming. We absolutely did programming, just like everybody else. MS Awareness Month is a very obviously it's a popular month to host and conduct content and things like that. So instead of in-person events, we did virtual events just like everybody else. We chose a more millennial, I would say, approach
Oh, that's
where,
an old lady word. Okay, old lady.
right, we didn't necessarily do webinars at first. We went the IG live route because our
Mm,
target was millennials who always are scrolling through Instagram. So instead of doing a webinar on Zoom, we opted to do an IG live and had that same type of conversation and tune in. And we did do Zoom meetups so that us as a community could have a private space to meet up and
yeah.
virtually get to know each other. So we did all of the above. I mean, everything that everybody else was doing, we did the same thing, took the same approach to gather and convene and get to know each other.
Well, that's brilliant though, holding an IG live instead of your general run of the mill Zoom, or sit here in this session and make sure everybody comes to that. Like, nah, you got to meet the people where they are, and where they
Exactly.
are is on the IG.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm saying. This is visionary. One, two, taking the realities of our time. This is COVID. Okay. So where are people? People are on their phones. So yeah, I could host a webinar, but I could also do a thing on the phones and
Yeah.
connect with my constituents, my community, and other people out here, so that not only do we have that connection, but it's simpler to make that connection because I'm
Yeah.
right here.
And to be honest, another aspect of why we chose IG Live is because we were founded and rooted in a social media aspect. As I mentioned, we started off, this was just a social media campaign that I started, and I bootstrapped the content and I bootstrapped the videos. So everything was rooted in social media. So we stayed true to that.
Mhm.
So we'll always have a strong social media component to our efforts because that's our roots.
You see, so I'm gonna hone in on this because it seems as if whenever people want to do something, they do what they think it should be. And like, oh, if I'm gonna do advocacy, oh, it should look like this. So I'm not gonna do all these things that are right here, right under me. I'm going to spend my time and resources and energy to do what I think it should look like, and then get burnt out and then get tired. And so what I'm saying is, like, you're here in this space because you took something that was a social media campaign and then started to take it up, and now it's a whole nother thing. And that's
Yeah.
a 5013C. Okay. It has letters and numbers. So to anybody that's out there and watching and saying, I kind of want to do my own thing, but I don't know where to begin, or I'm going to do my thing, but COVID is just taking the wind out of my sails. What would you say to that person?
I mean, I would say um, you got to just know that you want to do what you say you want to do, right?
Mm,
When you want to do something, it's by any means necessary.
Mm.
And that's something that's super important to me. As a visionary, I keep bringing it as a visionary, but there's a lot of ideas floating around. A lot of us have ideas, but execution is where it's at, and that's the differentiator. So if you want to do something and you feel that something is truly different, keep going and stick to your roots. And roots meaning why you think your idea is different. Keep
Mm.
at it. Keep at it. Stay true to that and stay and lean into that different factor, because I didn't have to start a nonprofit organization or a patient advocacy organization, because there's already plenty. But I knew that mine would be different. One, because we had a very specific target audience, and no other patient advocacy organization has a specific gender or race target. So I
Mm.
knew that that was different, but I also knew that how I was going to do my thing, like my marketing and my branding.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
knew that that was going to be different because I'm different.
right.
So I just stuck to it. And I'm just so glad that I did, because now, like I'm some of the ideas that I had years ago that I thought of in the shower, I'm finally able to do it. And it's because
Right.
I stuck at it. I stuck at it. And when you have ideas, keep them in your back pocket, write them down, don't forget them, because it's only a matter of time that you can do them, and you will do them if you stick at it.
So also you are a new mom, and the child is wonderfully quiet right now for some odd reason, right? Um,
Figure out.
oh, great. Oh, so you picked it up, right? So, but this is what I'm saying. Like the baby had the COVID, you had the COVID, your husband had the COVID, and y'all was just all circling it between each other and stuff. So, like, how, how have you been able to maintain the through line of your like, no, I'm going to make sure I get this advocacy done, but also, can somebody just turn down the brightness in here because I have COVID and I want to go to sleep? Like, how have you been making that work?
I mean, well, that was a short period of time. Yeah, well, it wasn't a long time, but
Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
I pushed through. Like I know that the people tuning in don't know me personally and may not ever meet me. Hopefully, they do. But I'm very strong-willed. If I
Mhm.
say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Um, I I think I'm a smart young lady, right? I could be sick. I might peek one eye open and type with one hand and still send that email. I might
Yeah,
just do it. Or, there's people on my team might not be able to text, but I'm going to send a voice note. Like, we're going to get it done by any means necessary again. So I push through. But I also truly do understand when you're sick and you need a moment to take a beat and just sit back. It can wait. So it's a little bit of both, right? Getting it done
right.
by any means necessary, and pause when you need to pause.
That's what I'm hearing here. Like, get her done, but also take your space, take your time, and for yourself, because you are a person, then you are a mom, or you are a wife, then you are a mom, and then you are an MS patient. And those things definitely seem to have different places, different numbers in the order over
Yes,
time. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
I mean, I feel like mom is number one always, for sure. And it's interesting because I think I posted about this recently. Like, sometimes you're like, especially some of the barriers that come with being a patient. Like, I
Mm.
was just emailing somebody today about a copay that I know I paid.
I know I paid that copay.
And then, like, sometimes insurance kicks back some stuff, but then you have to kind of push back, like, no,
Oh,
you know. So it's really a full-time job to be a patient outside of maintaining your health. It's like
absolutely.
chasing bill collectors or chasing insurance and getting pre-authorizations. It's a big job.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, as a mom, that's first for me. And I'm putting my, you put your health to the side sometimes because you got to figure things out. But I have to find a healthy balance all the time because my child is first, but I can't, that I don't want to call it an analogy, but that rule on a plane is like you got to put your mask on first
Mm.
before you put on anybody else's, because if you pass out or whatever, you cannot help anybody. You're not of service to anybody. So I have to honestly keep reminding myself of that. that I'm here to serve. I cannot serve this community if I'm not taking care of myself. So that is a priority for sure.
It sounds like there's some themes here, like get it done, give yourself grace, take your time, honor yourself and honor the folk around you. And if you aren't giving yourself some set of space, then give yourself that space. If you aren't giving your family members that space, then you give your family members that space. But also you give space to your vision, space to the thing that you want done and you know you can get done and you know that only you can get done. And making sure that as much of all of it, as much as possible, all of those things get the good energy, because you know you only have but so many spoons. You know you only have but so much good energy, COVID or not. But you if you dole them out, if you just dole them out accordingly, something good is going to come back, and it always feeds you. You can give that energy, but you're getting some energy back. You're giving the energy to We Are Ill, but you're getting so much more back when you look at these conversations online, when you look at how people are connecting. Are there things that you guys are doing specifically because of COVID that you are like setting up? Sure, you told me about the IG lives and everything, but are you holding more of those? Are you all holding more of like a Zoomy thing eventually, like the old people? Like, how are you working to continue to connect people in these times of the novel coronavirus?
Yeah. So great question. We'll always have a virtual component because it's easiest and
Mm,
it connects and unites us nationally, internationally. You know, we can connect that way because we're everywhere. We're a national organization. We are rolling out more regional efforts so that we can roll out in-person things. So, like I mentioned, we're doing our first in-person event in November. We're doing that in-person event, but we're also going to always do things virtually because that's going to be easiest. Even myself, I go to in-person events, but if I'm as a busy mom, if my kid's homesick like she is today, then I need to meet virtually and I need to have the option. So I love that as an option.
yeah,
And it will always be there for us. So we'll always be doing IG lives. We
yep,
do have some programming coming up.
yep.
um, it's interesting because we're at a phase where, everything's new. We're establishing tentpole events. We're establishing, markers that we're always going to hit. So I think next year is going to be a really sweet spot for us because now we've got an editorial calendar, you know. Now we have our tentpole programming for the full year. Like we know what we're
Love
going to do. So, that's just a
it.
humble beginning. You don't have that in year one. You're just kind of like trying to figure it out. So
Yeah,
we'll continue to have IG lives and Zoom meetups, and we'll have some in-person stuff now, which I'm really excited about because we've been ready to meet each other for a while.
lovely. Where can people find you? Tell us where we can find the We Are Ills and all this stuff. Go for it.
Yes. Okay. So our home base will always be our website, which is We Are Ill MS, short for multiple sclerosis. So weareillms.com. Our Instagram is We Are Illmatic because that is our humble beginnings, our roots. And so you can find us on Instagram. You can find us on YouTube. And if you just search We Are Ill, We Are Illmatic, you'll find us everywhere. And then we have a private Facebook group, which is our support group for Black women living with MS, and that's on Facebook. You search it, find us, answer a few little questions, and then we admit you in, and then you're a part of the party.
Lovely. Thank you for sharing this space with us. And thank you guys for watching. And we'll see you on another MS Views Now. Take it easy.